and welcome to another episode of our Newport Yarn and Fibers podcast. I'm Kathy.
I'm Mary. And Kath, where are we today?
Not in Newport.
Fear not. We are going back up to Rhode Island, Mother's Day weekend. Why, Kath?
We're having our first trunk show.
Woohoo!
Yay!
At Skein Yarn Shop.
In East Greenwich.
And we go to Skein quite a bit. The
Yeah,
community there has been so supportive of us. And this, we typically don't record, although our last one, I think, was October.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So we really don't do this a lot. When we do, it's because we have big news, and this is gigantic news for us. But last time we were in Rhode Island, and we were talking to Lori and Justine, we started talking about a trunk show, and then we did go back in January, talked a little more, and kind of finalized it. And we're really familiar with the Skein Yarn Shop community, because even before we were Newport Yarn and Fibers, their community of knitters has already supported the why we do our dyeing. So we will start with, let's talk about Newport Yarn and Fibers, right, which is the kind of the focus on the trunk show.
Right.
Twofold.
So, well, this is how we fundraise because we actually are a charity. So, and charities have to raise money. So this is how we raise money.
So first we'll talk about, right, and it's hard because we can't talk about one without the other. And really, right, you know, we told Lori and Justine, let's just do a Newport Yarn and Fiber trunk show. But they already know why we do this.
Right.
And they're trying to help us raise awareness.
Yes.
But if you were just hearing about us for the first time, and that Skein's having a Newport Yarn and Fiber trunk show, that's what we'll talk about first. And then if you're interested in why we're raising the money, we'll wrap up this episode with that.
Right.
So our yarns. Our yarns are inspired, color inspired by strong women who own or owned mansions in Newport. And, you know, the great wealth of the Gilded Age gave the men the money to build these mansions, and you know their names, but you don't frequently hear about the women's names and what they had to endure and really persevere to stand out as individuals, not just as arm pieces for their rich husbands. And a lot did sit back and just enjoy the parties, but some worked really hard. And the ladies that we are highlighting are some of those strong women. And, you know, we're not going to go through all of our colors right now because we do have an episode, what we did in October, I think, our right, October episode, we actually take you through all 12 colors. We have 12 colors, and we highlight 12 special women, and we take you to the places. Sometimes we're just outside of the places, but we tell you the woman, and we have some samples in. We're wearing samples in most of the colors.
What inspired the color choices we make?
So our yarns are, like Lori and Justine were saying, they are double skeins. So they're two. You get two full skeins, hand twisted together. This particular one is Beechwood, and it honors Carol and Astor. So it's literally two full hanks. And they are $60. So you're paying $30 per hand-dyed, full hand-dyed. This particular blend, well, most of them actually are 411 yards of a yarn that's got some sparkle in it, because the Gilded Age is sparkly, and then a textured yarn of some sort. So our Bellevue Avenue has, I guess I could read the fiber contents, but we don't want to get too wordy about the yarns. We have 3 weights. So this one here is Bellevue Avenue. And with our yarns, by the way, it comes with a card that tells you where the color inspiration came from and a little bit about each of the women and a little bit about the charity that we are raising the money for, our charity that we fundraise for. So each one comes with one of these cards attached. That is Bellevue Avenue. That will be our warmest blend.
Right. And all the yarns we covered, and if you look at our October episode, we go through every single one.
Each color.
Yeah.
So our medium one, that will be Thames Street, Kath. That will be in that cabinet there. Can you just grab a Thames real quick? Yeah, any of them, whatever one you like. This will be our medium weight. and it's like an alpaca boucle as your texture, and then the sparkly skein as well. Again, 2 full skeins, and I think the yardage on all of these are 411 of the sparkly fingering weight yarn, and then the textured ones are fingering weight as well, with about 437 yards. And you can knit with them individually if you wanted to, but our samples, we always hold them double-stranded on different needle sizes. So that's Thames Street. Again, like Kath said, all 12 colors in Bellevue Avenue, in Thames Street.
How about Ocean Drive?
Sure. And Ocean Drive would be our coolest fiber, because there's no halo on this one. This is the one that Justine said she thinks there was one with a slub. That would be Ocean Drive. Again, 411 yards of the sparkle and 437 of this slub yarn. And we say it's a little bit cooler feeling because it doesn't have the halo. We recommend a needle size holding that double-stranded on a 9. Thames Street would be a 10, and Bellevue Avenue would be an 11, and it makes a nice fabric. So we have 3 double skeins for $60, Ocean Drive, Thames Street, and Bellevue Avenue. And we are brand new introducing, and fingers crossed we have room in the car for these. We are introducing our City by the Sea skeins, which are single skeins. And the City by the Sea weights are named after 4 neighborhoods that are around the harbor itself. So we have the Newport Bridge, which is not a neighborhood, but it enters you into Newport, so it is around the part of the harbor we're highlighting. So, so this is a mohair, and this is called the Newport Bridge.
But
Then,
what color is that in?
oh, this is the Whim,
Yeah. Okay.
honoring Otzi Charles, but we talk about that in the last episode. And then our next one would be the fingering weight. Is that this one, Kat? So it's a beautiful fingering weight. It's really soft. And this one's called the Point, because that's the first neighborhood you go through when you enter into Newport. Then we have Historic Hill, which is a beautiful DK with a little bit of sparkle. And we specifically picked the DK Sparkle for Historic Hill because that's where most people spend most of their time when they're tourists in Newport, or you come for dinner. It's where Trinity Church is, and you're up on the hill, and you can look out at the beautiful harbor, sparkling in the sun during the day, or even at nighttime, sparkling. So the DK Sparkle is Historic Hill. And then our last weight
we happen to have a lot of this color done.
Yes, because we're dying like crazy for the trunk show. This again is the Whim. This is our Aran weight yarn, and it is called the Fifth Ward. So the Fifth Ward is the other end. In fact, when we are recording and talk about Ida Lewis in our last episode, we're at the corner of the harbor where the Ida Lewis Yacht Club is now, which used to be Lime Rock, which is the lighthouse that Ida Lewis, who's honored in our collection. That's the other end of the harbor. So the bridge is here, you have the Point, Historic Hill, and the Fifth Ward. So we chose the neighborhoods right around the harbor. Right. And those single skeins are $30 skeins. Right. And we will have a few of all 12 colors with us at the trunk show.
Yes.
And we did show Ida Lewis. Ida Lewis is brand new. Kat, can you grab an Ida Lewis right there behind you? We're very proud of Ida Lewis colors.
Oh, yeah, we didn't have that in that last episode, if you go look at the colors.
Yeah, I think I found it and put a picture in eventually, but we didn't actually...
Remember the trunk of the car was opening up and our stuff was falling out.
Yeah, but thank God we didn't lose it. It was home. When we got home, we found it. So Ida Lewis, we didn't have an orange when you look at our color palette. And we thought these colors reflect the sunsets that she spent her entire life lucky enough to see from her lighthouse. So that added an orange to our mix. And if you go to our Instagram, Newport Yarn and Fibers, we're highlighting all of these women in reels that you'll be able to kind of see a little bit more about them to get ready for the trunk show. So we're very excited, and we are doing samples, Kat.
Yes, and our samples, some of them are our own patterns, some of them we are coordinating, or we included some of the Skein Yarn Shop kind of favorite people. Yeah. You know, Kimberly McAlinden, so we have a couple of things we did in hers, Casapinka,
Casapinka, who's a Rhode Island designer.
Yes, and also where we made some of our samples where we included like another yarn dyer from the area that Lori and Justine have had at their shop. Kevin and Ray.
Needles at the ready.
Yeah.
So we know, if you watch the podcasts, which I'm sure you do, you know Kevin and Ray, and now their yarn is a regular yarn at the shop.
Right.
So one of our samples has some of Kevin's, and we're knitting as fast as we can,
Yes.
by the way. So we're trying to get all these things done. Worst case, they're almost done, these samples.
Yes.
But we do have that. And Fiber Hustle.
Right.
So I have some of Erin's Fiber Hustle yarn that we're incorporating in one pattern, fingers crossed. And Chip, who I spoke with really kind of early in the game, is going to custom make a bag for our raffle. And the way it's going to work is our Gilded Age skeins are $60, like we said. And for every $60 purchase you make, it could be 2 of our single skeins or one of these, you get a chance to win not only Chip's bag that he's making, and they're beautiful bags. And as time goes by, we'll show you, we're going to Zoom with Chip in an hour, so we'll fine tune a little bit more about the bag, but it will be one of his bags with some of our yarn in it and a pattern and potentially like a little video. So it's going to be a very nice prize.
Right.
And so we're looking forward to that.
Yep. And also, Justina and Lori are going to be doing some lives, so we'll be showing some of the different samples, and you can place orders on the phone as well that day.
Yeah. So that's all.
We're so excited.
Yeah, we're really winging this. We're trying to plan displays, and it's our first big trunk show, and we're really happy to do it in the safe place that is Skein, where these ladies have been so nice to us.
Yeah, they're so nice.
And then if you're they're so sweet. So if you're interested in the why, like Kat started out by saying, every charity needs funding. And we've started Hugs Through Shrugs in like 2016. It didn't become a registered 501c3 until 2017. And it's changed a lot over the years, but the mission's never changed. Wrapping love and support and sending support to mothers whose lives have been affected by pediatric cancer. And we make our signature Shrug Hugs, which we've again changed over the years, and this has been a very smart move for us because we get many not only donated to us, but our makers can crank them out really quickly. Knitters and crocheters, but both have learned Tunisian crochet, and we crank those out very quickly on like S hooks, T hooks, U hooks, if you know anything about crochet hooks. So, we'll insert some pictures, but so much of this information is already in prior videos of ours. But what we do is we make these comfort wraps and ship and deliver them to moms through collaborations we have with other organizations that support pediatric cancer families. We are currently only in 2 hospitals, but they're unique. Originally we were in like 15 hospitals, but that was very difficult to maintain because there was staff turnover. And then when you lose your contact person, donations are sitting there. And our goal, if you're kind enough to make for us, we are determined to make sure what you made is going to who you intended it to go to. And what's been better for us is collaborating with other pediatric cancer charities. And Hasbro Children's Hospital, which is one of our first hospitals that we started in 2016 with, they actually have a very unique pediatric cancer charity right in the hospital on the pediatric cancer floor. So families who are coming in don't have to go far for a little rest, a meal, charge their devices. They have little crafts going on there. The Izzy Foundation. So if you live in Rhode Island, you really need to learn about the Izzy Foundation because they're there 365, always caring for these families. And we send our care packages. So with the money we raise selling yarn, I'll insert a picture so you don't have to hear the bags crunching. But our care packages include not only the Shrug Hug, but a little teddy bear for the child and a toiletry packet, mouthwash, toothpaste, a little nail file, hand lotion, just a few toiletry items for the mom, and a little notebook and a pen because mother has to write down whatever the doctor's saying, and a card from our organization for the mother. So that's what goes to not just Hasbro Children's Hospital, to the Izzy Foundation, but to the Cancer Institute at Joseph Sanzeri's Children's Hospital in Hackensack, New Jersey. So that's the biggest pediatric cancer organization in New Jersey, and we're lucky enough to be supporting them for many years now. Then we hooked up with organizations like Arms Wide Open, and this is where we get the home addresses of mothers nationwide, because Arms Wide Open is gigantic, and they're also the Truth 365. They made a movie about pediatric cancer back in I think 2012, and they're huge. And Dina Sherwood, the founder of the organization, sends us the home addresses, and we're just scratching the surface of what we do, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of children diagnosed with cancer, and unfortunately it is the number one killer of children, and these moms are walking an unbearable path, as are the dads. But we can only do so much. If I won $1 billion, I'd give it all to half to funding and half to these families, because their medical expenses is just it's a very difficult journey. And we get individual requests. People who know about us will call and ask us to send to a family member or whatever. And we also do momcology. So I'll insert a little video of the ladies 2 days ago lacing the Shrug Hugs. Again, a Shrug Hug is a 20 by 60 inch chunky, bulky, cozy panel that makers make for us. Tunisian crochet, whatever stitch pattern you want, just with heavy yarns. And we lace them closed, and I'll insert a picture. So the mom slips it over her head, and it rests on her shoulders like a weighty poncho.
Like a weighted comfort wrap.
Mm-hmm. So it really feels like you're being hugged by someone.
Right.
And, there's a whole story with how we morphed over the years, but I'm trying to keep it concise but thorough enough where if you like what we're doing, you'll join the Skein Yarn Shop community on Mother's Day weekend and pitch in and help support what we're doing. So with Arms Wide Open, we get the home addresses and we ship nationwide. I'm sorry, Momcology is the other one we're doing. They're strictly pediatric cancer. And when the ladies were here 2 days ago, they were doing all the lacing. Nobody has to lace. We do the lacing. We use gold ribbons, which is the Pediatric Cancer Awareness ribbon. So everyone gets a gold ribbon. And this retreat, which we're shipping next week to, is in Texas. We're sending 40 Shrug Hugs. And this is a bereavement retreat where these mothers have lost their children to pediatric cancer. So we say whose lives have been affected, because we kind of cover everything.
Right.
And we do multiple retreats for Momcology, and we've done many. We do many organizations. Those are the main ones right now.
We've sent out thousands of these shrugs, and we don't even scratch the surface of reaching the number of moms whose kids have cancer, unfortunately.
This is our 9th year.
Yeah.
And we are going to hit the 10,000 mark this year for sure. So especially with the conversations we've had with Momcology.
But in order to do all this work, we have to fundraise. So we had to decide, well, how are we going to raise money? Because shipping alone is a killer.
One Shrug Hug, depending on where it's going, could be $11 to $17 to ship one.
So, and then there's all the yarn. We can't expect our ladies to pay for all the yarn. They've made many on their own. But
they're here. They are our regulars.
Yeah.
I mean, we're grateful to get ones in the mail, but majority of what's being made are by our core group of volunteers.
Right. So we try to cover the yarn. So we have arrangements with different yarn manufacturers, and we get our yarn from them. So we have to buy that too. So
we
it's
have
the ribbons, it's everything.
Yeah, we have wholesale accounts with Lion Brand Yarn and King Cole Yarns. So we stock, and I'm going to insert a video of what our studio looks like. So you could see it's a dedicated space that we work every day. Every day we're working in here. And we stock the wall so the ladies don't have to buy the yarn. And we've also had yarn made for us overseas. One of the first things we did was we found the yarn company who makes for Michaels, Loops and Threads, Hobby Lobby, Red Heart. We found their factory and ordered yarn. I'll insert a couple of pictures of we had to order by color by kilogram. So it was like 100, and with 100 kilograms being the minimum quantity. So we have a whole room full of these cones. And when we're shipping to certain events, they get all the same color.
Right.
So we do have that yarn as well. But this particular Momcology event we're doing, we spoke with them and we're sending a variety of colors with a couple extras so the moms can pick one that they really love.
Right.
So it's making it more about the moms instead of our brand or Momcology's brand. And we get so many varieties. So if you send to us, make something in a color you like,
Right.
and a mom will pick it herself. Like in the Izzy room, they just have the care packages available for the new families, and they pick one they like.
And the only requirements are it's a 20 by 60 rectangle. We can lace it. We just 20 by 60 rectangle. Try to make it weighty, and acrylic, 100% acrylic.
Yes, and no lace weight.
Right.
Please, no hats, no
Right.
scarves.
It's for a comfort wrap, so you want them to feel the weight.
Yes. So, some people have been very generous and they've heard about us and sent us big boxes of hats. Well, now what? Somebody made these hats and there's cost and there's care. But now what do we do with these hats? Like, we just can't. So we've had a couple of creative ways. We had a Festival of Trees event we did one time, and we raised some money selling the hats, and what was left over then we donated. But that's just giving us an extra job.
Well, we have PDFs on the website, so if you go there, you can find out more specifically, more information about the charity and everything. So,
yeah, and past videos.
Yes,
and we're trying to get better on
those.
Instagram. So we're on Instagram as Hugs Through Shrugs, where there's many videos, and then branding the yarn specifically as Newport Yarn. We've been dyeing yarn for a while, and but decided to try to separate the yarn. Like, just look at us as we're dyers. We know what we're doing. I've been dyeing for probably started around 2013, but I first was dyeing shawls that I was weaving to raise money for another charity in Newport. And that's another thing we do. So if you wonder what's the Newport Yarn and Fibers, the knitting community is gigantic, and the knit and crochet community is gigantic, and we owned a yarn store, and we know the generosity of knitters and crocheters. Our community was fantastic, and if any of our old customers are watching, we loved these ladies so much, so we knew we can reach out and ask the knit and crochet community. But not everybody knits and crochets, as hard as that is to believe. So Kath and I also invested some of the money in knitting machines, and that video telling our knitting machine journeys also on our YouTube channel. That was a hard weekend.
Figuring out the knitting machines.
But we did go up to Newport, and we mastered machine making the shawls. And another episode, we're in Newport, where I think we went home that winter with 130 shawls that we would bring home and hand dye.
Made our own little sweatshop.
Oh, yeah. And we work hard. So this one right here, this hand-dyed shawl is, the color is Seafair, and this color we honor Mavis Leno, who Jay Leno and Mavis Leno have a beautiful mansion called Seafair in Newport. And although Mavis, she wasn't a mother, and she didn't own her home in the Gilded Age, she dedicated her life to women's rights. So she's been on the board of the Feminist Majority Foundation since the 90s and fought really hard for Afghan women and girls' rights. And that's what she has dedicated most of her life to. And this is the colors of their logo. So we did this for Mavis, and our shawls, we close them like this. We make these closures. So they're 20 by 60 panels that, again, they're kind of designed after our Shrug Hugs. You slip it on. And we all love shawls, but sometimes they're a bit of a pain to stay on. These, oops, I can't reach the back of it, sit on you like a poncho. So this is how, but imagine a weighty, chunky weighty. Again, we'll set a picture.
And without making any changes, you can also turn this to the side, wear it as an asymmetrical poncho, or more dramatic, turn it completely around, let the buttons go down your back, and you have this beautiful shawl looking, like almost like a capelet looking.
Yeah.
And it's all dramatic in the back with the...
So we've had a lot of luck selling these. This is the fibers part of Newport Yarn and Fibers. We sell these in Newport at a beautiful shop called Friendly Harbor, which we have highlighted in past YouTube episodes, and also in the Rough Point Museum gift shop, which was Doris Duke's mansion, which
our color
is one of our colors here too. So this is the fibers part of Newport Yarn and Fibers, and it's all stuff we love to do, and that's
the Rough Point colorway.
Beautiful. So, and again, the color inspiration's in the cards. So we think that our yarns have a different twist. We say stories of strong women from the past, helping to support the bravest of moms today.
Right.
And Ida Lewis, although she didn't have a mansion, you can't get much stronger than her. Physical strength and determination just to keep her harbor safe, and she dedicated her life to us. So these are some really special ladies.
Yes.
And we covered the fundraising. Why, this is why we don't want to do a gala. We don't want to do a golf outing. We love knitters and crocheters, and it's a way for us to raise money while still being part of the stitching community.
So now you know who we are, what we do, and why.
And hopefully, I think we covered everything. And hopefully,
and where we're going to get to do it in May.
So please, stay tuned and follow Justine and Lori. Listen to the podcast, and during those 2 days,
try to join us for Mother's Day. Even if you call in or if you can come in, it would be great.
Friday and Saturday, they're closed on Mother's Day itself, so we could all be with our mothers or be with our children. So that's it. And follow us on Instagram for some updates.
Yep. Take care. Bye.
Good.